In order to win what you want, most of the time you will spend it on the journey, on the reps, on the habits, in training, learning, improving. So I wanted to talk about one of the romanticizations of this journey that it helps me a lot and that I don't see many people talking about: treating comics as good-natured sports. But I did search for the sport definition: an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment. And what I love about this can apply to anything. I mean, we have cooking shows for a reason. There's fashion challenges. And why not drawing until dawn and working so hard you end up exhausted? Drawing is actually very exhausting on the body. I didn't think that was true, but that's why there are so many mangakas that are hurt, and their wrists and hands, and me myself, I was sick because of repetitive strain injuries. So yeah, it's amazing how much hard work can go into this if this is your passion, if you have the discipline, but also you have to be careful. I'm not endorsing any unhealthy behavior, just these sportsman attitudes are so motivating. Everything comes for me with my love for... No, I'm not in love with the horse, I promise. I just want to be him. That's much more normal. No, what I actually mean is that I'm not going to give up attitude. I know that I'm not the only one. That's why people like motivational movies. That's why people love Rocky. That's why sports anime is so popular. It's an attitude that me and many others adore, and it helps us in our real lives. Okay, so number 1, and this is me explaining what's the fun in getting fired up. If you have played video games, and if not, board games, you know how competitive things can become, and it can be so much fun, done correctly, of course. But sometimes it's even delicious, even when they win over you, because it motivates you so much to win over them next time. And that feeling, that fire, it's amazing. I even remember, like, at school, I was definitely not the only artist, and my art style wasn't necessarily the one that most people liked. What was most popular back then was a very simple style of little kids, which is okay, but I remember thinking that my art style was a little more complex and I needed to learn anatomy for sure. But this is the thought that kept me going. But instead of feeling down on myself, I was like, I know that I'm going to keep drawing, and I doubt this other person will keep drawing. And many years later, that's true. Because I knew I loved it so much that I was just going to keep going. And there's nothing wrong with the other person. Actually, their art style was very pretty, liked it. And I'm sure that if she drew today, she could even sell a merch, maybe. Because she does so many pretty things, but she doesn't draw anymore. That's just... There's so many different types of art styles as well. I didn't know it back then, but I was comparing myself to artists that were not in my same niche. Like, instead of comparing to manga artists or comic artists, I was comparing myself to any kind of artist. And that was obviously not the ideal situation. Also, at the end of the day, you are indeed competing with yourself, with who you were yesterday. Even me, when I say I'm just going to keep drawing many years, and that's going to improve my odds of becoming good at art. The way I see the improvement is seeing my old drawings. But also sometimes I'm doing things and I'm even astonished by myself, like, oh, I can't believe I drew this hand correctly. Oh, I'm so happy. I can remember those first years. I didn't used to draw noses for a very long while because I didn't dare to do it. Things from the past. I remember the first time I was playing a game like Age of Empires, and I was very young, and I remember my parents were playing this game and I wanted to learn it. They took a long time because they had this feeling that I was going to be crying and, not being able to play. So I took pride in proving them wrong, because it's not only about the game, it's the type of person you become while playing the game. And there's not only one type of person, of course, but I feel someone that enjoys sports, someone that enjoys the game, whether it's the drawing game or other type of game. You enjoy being there, even if you sometimes lose, you sometimes win, and you always learn and you pick up from where you left. So I need to clarify, number 2. Rivalry versus envy. If you go to their definition, envy is indeed wishing that the other person didn't have what they have. Okay, in my opinion, like I don't go through life and I consider people my rivals. I don't have their picture here. And I focus on them every day or something like that. That would be a little crazy, I guess. I do have people I admire, both people that are 1,000 steps above from me or 2 steps above from me. I do consider very motivating to be on the same level as someone and thinking that I want them to not get over me, that I have to continue. And that doesn't mean I don't want success for those people. On the contrary, the more they become better and they are starting maybe from the same place that you were, you want to get better yourself. So you know that if they are improving faster than you or something like that, you have to see what they're doing and see if you're practicing the most effective way, even a very marginal thing. And that's the thing about sports. And that's why I also love the book Atomic Habits. They also talk about how some teams won because they were teaching simple things like how to tie their shoes and they didn't waste time. I think most of my time improving, you know what, I've been doing comics all my life, so I know what it's like to have been drawing for 15 years or more and to not see the improvement because I was not practicing correctly. And that's when I was looking at those amazing artists that I felt, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And that's when I analyzed, like, okay, I'm practicing wrong. I'm drawing the things I know over and over again. What habit, what little thing can I do to improve on that? Thank goodness then my parents divorced. Wait, that came out of nowhere without context. Okay, let me explain. My dad was asking for forgiveness from me, so he paid my first and only time that I have ever had art lessons with a mentor for a few months. I don't remember how long he was sorry for, but it was very useful. And from there, I just doing a more mindful sketchbook practice. But maybe I wouldn't have, if I hadn't compared myself a little bit to better artists than me. Why am I not there yet? I wouldn't have improved. I would have continued doing what I was doing. Now, very quick and a clarification. While you're doing the actual reps, that's not when you should be comparing yourself to other people. Only when you're planning the reps. What do I mean? So, when I'm doing my sketchbook practice, I'm looking at photographs of anatomy, for example. I'm not looking at other artists necessarily, and definitely not to feel bad about myself or my level of skills. I'm focused on the work. This advice, number one, it's more effective if you're not chronically online, but number two, I want you to make sure to not get toxic comparisons started, like, oh, I can never reach this level. Come on, you can. It's a human. That's what's amazing about artists. They show you what's possible for the human that practices, and you see the result of years and years of labor. That's super cool, and it's achievable. That's also something great about people your level that start to do maybe better than you. It's super inspiring because they show you that it's possible. This is possible. And when you see life as possibilities, it starts to be so much more fun. I do consider a winner someone that may lose, but that tries. I think most people do consider that, right? Though let's take into account life is not perfect and there are circumstances. However, just for the sake of this discussion, because sometimes we say that, but maybe the person has a chronic illness or something. So yeah, we have to take into account the context. So this is just one example. And another example I want to say is it's very useful if you have a healthy mindset about this. If you see it as respect and emulation instead of envy, even though you can feel a little bit of jealousy, and at the beginning it's not bad because it's indicating what you want. You want what that person has. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be envious and you're going to complain about it or harm that person in any way with a comment. Those are villains, honestly. Those are true losers, in my opinion. That's what we have in stories. We always have the losers that are losing everything and they lash out against people that have nothing to do with that. But sometimes that jealousy, honestly, okay, I know this is going to be very personal, but I'm not a jealous person. Maybe this type of content works better for people like me, but I'm not that special, honestly. I know there are many people like me. So when you see someone that's a little above you and you admire that, those are perfect examples on what you can do. For example, in my vision board, I put 2 people. I was going to put 3, but I have them all in mind, and they are above me regarding success, culture, knowledge, maybe numbers. The reason I put them there in my vision board is because they are easy examples for me to follow. I'm not putting someone with a 100,000 subscribers that has this very cinematic editing style, even though they are inspiration too, of course, but they are the first step in a way. And honestly, I'm not envious because YouTube is for everyone. Like, everyone can be here. I feel like envy comes maybe from a lack of information, or it could come if you feel like something belongs to you. Envy is a weird feeling. Jealousy, like, I want that too. That's an indication of what you want. One of the reasons I'm not a jealous person, I think, is ever since I was very young, I have considered that being jealous is admitting that I'm less than. That can be controversial. It's just how I feel for myself. So if I'm jealous of someone, I'm like, no, I'm enough. What? And in true sportsmanship, you like that the other team or the other player is good, because then it is so much sweeter when you win. Even if you lose, that person was taking you seriously, so it's a fair fight. Honestly, I'm competitive, but most of the board games I always lose. But I really dislike if people play easy with me, because to me they are not respecting my abilities. I prefer to lose in a fair game than them letting me win. I feel this is a mentality, however, that I did. Maybe I had ever since I was little, but I also have been strengthening that mentality throughout the content I consume, which I will talk about in a minute. I think, and we know, that we humans, we are very easily influenced sometimes. I like to use that to my advantage. I know that I love sports anime. I know that I love movies like that. Spirit. That was my Western animation example. The anime that changed my life first was Bakuman. Because Bakuman did follow the sports structure, I was like, oh, right, it's not only in sports where you can have these attitudes, it's the whole life. What can be more romantic than that? To see the character in your screen and be like, I want to be like them. I want to be a fighter. And Rocky loses. I mean, I remember the first motivational video I watched on YouTube. I even memorized the speech. And a lot of it was that Rocky speech to his son. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows.
It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you wanna be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
I'm motivated 99% of the time. I'm lying, but I'm more motivated than most people because I choose to watch every so often a sports anime, movies that have this theme. I'm reading Haikyuu right now, which is about this very short kid that's playing volleyball. And it's so fun, it's so cute, and I love it. So when people ask me, how am I so disciplined to do certain things, because people in my life, they are very hard workers. They actually, I think they work harder than me, but I'm the one, like, I'm a freelancer. Everything I do is self-discipline. Do I work out? Yes. Where? In my house. I don't have a trainer to yell at me if I'm not doing the reps. I'm the one that has to keep on top of myself. I do have a trainer that gives me the plan, but he doesn't check every day that I go work out in my living room. I'm a freelancer. I don't have to respond. I'm doing these comics and this YouTube channel for free because I want to pursue certain things. And I'm the one that has to be like, okay, I know you want to watch TikToks and TV and do nothing right now instead of recording this video because you have free time. But I'm like, no. Yes, I'm flattering myself too much in this video, but I'm honestly weaker than many people I know. However, I'm very proud of the person I have become because I wanted to become like them, like Naruto. Just with me being a comic artist. I have also been a good student in other areas, so it's not limited to one discipline or your passion. It's any area in your life you want to be good at. Number 3. To love the journey, the reps. I do think that it's about making it as enjoyable as possible for you. When I have to work out and it's cold, I put an extra layer of clothes just to not be cold. It's just, how to make it less shitty. And the reason I have been able to keep going is also because of the winner effect, which is making every little thing an accomplishment. It's why we're making everything like a video game. That's why people, I know I'm not the only one, again, I'm not special. This is very typical. It's just about making it conscious. This is my planner. This is what I have succeeded in right now, because the black squares are things I have done and the white squares are things I haven't done. And I love filling my planner with little squares. So every little thing that I win, I get to feel a square, and that's pleasurable. It's about increasing happiness every way you can. When I get up very early in the morning to do my comic, I'm very cold, but I love putting my blanket on and looking all crazy. I look terrible, but I feel great. And I work on the comic, and sometimes I don't want to work on the comic, and then I put music, or I can be in silence, whatever it is, but I'm starting the day with something that I love, my comic rep. Every day, and this is true, I wake up 4:45 a.m. I don't start working at that hour. I start first by reading 10 minutes, because it's the easiest thing I can do in bed. To do something that I love, that wakes my brain up, that's not social media. And then I come here, I do my little sketchbook habit, and I do my comic for as much as I can before I have to work out and do my job that pays the bills. I have my water ready. I have all my lights turned on, so it feels as cozy as possible. If I'm feeling lazy, I may take more breaks than usual, but I will keep going. And I know that I will, because it's comics, I love it so much, I will end up enjoying it, even if I want to sleep more than anything at that moment before getting warmed up. Number 4, when you lose. You know what it feels like? It doesn't feel good. Especially if you really want it. Especially if you gave it your all. It's so sad. It's so maddening. So we go back to the topic. You don't want to feel that way again. It's fuel to get better. When I felt more like a failure, even though it's debatable if I was when I got sick for years and I couldn't draw. And I felt like I was starting to have every opportunity, and then that was taken away from me because of health, because I didn't take care of my health, like many artists never do. And by chance I happened to have something that's a little uncommon, but also not, because if you check many comic artists, many of them have injuries now. So I would say take care of your body right now, but okay. But yeah, I know I was so angry. I was so angry for many months, thinking how unfair it was that I could not compete in the arena. And what I was saying to whoever wanted to hear me was that I was not angry about losing. I was more angry that I was not participating. So I remember that feeling that to me success is participating in the arena. So when you lose, you're going to cry. I'm going to cry. But a winner is someone that can lose and then get up again. Maybe in a different way. It doesn't have to be the same way. I just can imagine how many soccer players I have seen that they have lost. They have these injuries and they can't play soccer anymore or whatever sport they are playing. And then they become something amazing that's different because that's life. I want to think that all this journey is about the type of person you've become. So I like to tell myself, and also by seeing all these shows, I'm the type of person that can take it. I'm the type of person that I know that I need, and this is me being gentler to myself than most people because I'm spoiled maybe, but I like to lick my wounds, take a moment to hug myself and be in the ground for a little bit, feeling sorry for myself a little bit. But I know I won't stay there. I know that I will get up. Some people get up faster than me. Some people get up slower than me. And some people never get up. I like to think all these habits, all this strengthens you. And when then I'm losing and I'm feeling bad about it, I can consume a book, a video, a movie, because losing is universal and trouble is universal. It will happen over and over again, and the point is getting up, even if it feels unfair. And this is a bonus one, and just a bonus one also because this is like a disclaimer. I come from a family of philosophers, so I know I have to give disclaimers of things. If not, people will go to the most extreme idea. When I say to compete and to work very hard for this, I'm not saying to sacrifice your health, your friends, your loved ones. There are so many books, and I have even made one video at least in the procrastination video. Right now I have healed from that sickness, and in this period that I'm participating in the webtoon comic contest, I feel more happy, but mainly because I have health, because I have a little bit more balance. I don't go to parties every week or something. That would be crazy and that would mess with my sleep schedule so much that would hurt my performance, indeed. But I have my friends whom I love, my family whom I love, and I see them both pretty often. I have a desk in the living room, and I have started on Wednesdays to be there just at night, of course, while I do something simple of work, while I hang out with my mom and we watch a predictable, easy TV show together, so I don't have to pay that much attention. I love motivational videos as well. However, I do have the two disclaimers of ableism. Sometimes they are like, oh, so you are in a wheelchair, so get up and run. And that's just stupid. And that goes for invisible illnesses as well, and mental ones. And number two, also, the one habit I disagree with the most is I wake up very early, for example, but I do sleep my 7 hours and a half. And then I take a nap after my lunch. I have tried to not take a nap. I have tried to sleep less than what I need to, but I just can't. Sleep is the most important thing you can do. However, I do understand that some people, especially people that are parents, may need to sacrifice it a little bit for their dreams. But again, I'm just not advising it. This video is more about making it romantic and a motivation source that I get all the time because of the content I choose to consume. And this is not all the content I consume, but it's a big part. Now, I try to not overconsume because that would be crazy. I would not be working. So I'm going to go with Haikyuu very slowly because I'm also, reading other stuff. Many people are like, what's so interesting about watching a show where they're playing school sports and they are doing homework? I don't know. Tell me why on YouTube there are millions of videos that are like study with me or study with me for 8 hours and they have like millions and millions and millions of views. That's because it's your life, it's my life, it's daily life, and we all have to do this. Honestly, there are so many strong people and they don't recognize it. You know, we all think, hopefully, we are the protagonists of our own stories. But because we're so used to it, we don't celebrate it. Doing the boringly fun work in order to achieve our goals. Okay. I hope this video gives you many sources of motivation or makes you at least think about what type of content you're consuming, what type of stories you're consuming, what do you surround yourself with in order to feel more high-spirited as much as possible. Because winning is possible. Many people have won in different areas. Many people have graduated from difficult universities. Many people have worked like crazy to even afford outside education. Many people have created their own businesses. And there are many people that even though it takes them a long time, they become writers and artists and comic artists. So a lot of things are possible and it's fun to even be on the journey, on the road. Already is to be in the arena instead of the bleachers, grinding, competing, losing and winning. Everyday life can be so much fun because you're a player on the court. Thank you so much for watching this video and giving me an excuse to fangirl about the stories that I love. And let's go for our dreams as much as possible. So go high, achiever. Good luck. Bye.